Hello. It's mawoolar and I'm back. I really hope everyone's doing well. October has been, a bit busy. So this is a video of me telling you what I loved in the month of October, whether it be books, movies, things that I loved. Mostly it's going to be books and movies because I don't really have any other hobbies aside from these two things. So, yeah, I'm just happy to share what I loved in the month of October. I just used this penguin bookmark as my microphone. I'm going to start with a simple something first. So, one of my favorites this month is a perfume. And this is actually a very famous brand in Malaysia. It's a local brand. It's called Zindor. The one I use is Endless Blanche. I am not in a place where I am able to afford like really famous, well-known perfumes that are of really high quality. So I just get anything that is like affordable for me and works best for me. And I think there should not be any shame in owning affordable products. So especially in Malaysia's climate, where it's very hot and humid, and we as Malaysians, we sweat a lot. I know that for one. I especially sweat a lot. So this perfume is actually something really new for me. Even while I was, discovering what perfume works best for me, I bought a lot of like those mini testers from branded perfume brands, and I tried out a lot of stuff. And Endless Blanche by Zindor really smells like the Byredo Blanche perfume, but that perfume made my head spin. I'm really sensitive to smells, so that smell specifically I really wanted to like, and it made me really dizzy. So this was a pleasant surprise because it smells like a very toned down version of Byredo Blanche, and I could take it, like I really like the smell. It really works for sweaty individuals, sweaty girls like me. Again, I do think there's no shame in owning number one, less known brands, and also number two, local brands, especially if they're doing, really good stuff. And yeah, just buy what you can afford. This is not a PR, I swear, but like I also bought the D Herbs like shower gel. So there was like three types. It's going viral on TikTok. Feels like really cheap marketing for some people, but I tried it and surprisingly it really works for me. And it really shocked me. This is not a promo. I'm genuinely like saying this is one of the products that shocked me in the month of October because I have been dealing with really bad body odor since I was a kid, since I remember, since I remember being alive. It is something that I have been struggling with for years. I just, like, it is not a good thing to worry about all the time. It doesn't feel nice. You worry about sweating too much, and the weather in Malaysia does not help sweaty girlies like me. For years, I've been trying to figure things out. Thankfully, right now, I'm in a place where it's getting better thanks to the products that I'm using that are much better and really suitable for my body. But these shower gels specifically, I bought the pink one, which is the Mandian Aura Tujuh Bunga, and also the green one, which is what it's called, Madu Bidara. So the green one, they say it's good for using it before you sleep because it makes you feel fresh and relaxed, and it calms you down. While the pink one, it's really cooling, it's really refreshing. When I bought these two shower gels and used it like consistently, I was not expecting for them to like reduce my body odor at all. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was so surprised because, I'm not saying that it disappeared completely, but it reduced it by a large amount that I was not expecting. Like, I did not buy this for body odor. I bought this because I wanted the cooling sensation. When it got rid of my body odor, or at least controlled it, I guess, it was really, really pleasant surprise. I was not expecting it at all. I think number one, because of the local ingredients, it's really suitable for Malaysian climate. It's just so refreshing and cooling. You just smell like herbs and flowers, and it's just really nice overall. I love smelling like herb. One of the reasons why I think this theory is right is because when I actually tried using my older soaps, my body odor immediately came back. Like, I don't know how they do it. It's just so good. It worked so good on me. I don't think I'm going to try or use any other brands. I'm gonna keep using this brand. It's a very, very pleasant surprise, which made me really happy and satisfied, because that just means that it was a very valuable and worth it kind of purchase. For those of you who are struggling with body odor, I 100% think that maybe you can or should give this brand a try. Do not look down on Malaysian brands. They actually exist for a reason. Anyways, I read 9 books in the month of October. Some were good, some were kind of okay, some were ebooks, some were physical books, and I do have my own stack of physical books right here. Let me just get through this stack. Physical book wise, I have 5, which means I read 4 ebooks. Let's just get right through it. The first book I read in October was Hot Milk by Deborah Levy. This is a story about a mother and daughter who travels to Spain to find out this mysterious illness that has taken over her mother, in which she just can't feel anything in her feet and she can't walk. Every single encounter in that, during their trip to Spain was so strange and dreamlike. Like, the doctor is so weird, even though he's supposedly an expert at this field, treating bones and legs. And our main character is, caught up in this very toxic relationship that is mistaken as love, but it's really just obsession and unhealthy jealousy with another woman. She travels to Greece to talk to her father, who abandoned her as a child. And, it's just, there's a lot of events that spiral in this book, but this book is filled with symbolism and metaphors that you will, for some people, I guess they would find it a little overbearing because it's so on the nose. So I know some people preferred these symbolisms to be more delicate, to be more subtly delivered, rather than be like, hey, you see this metaphor? You see the symbolism? Can you see it? Let me tell you right now. This is what we're going for. So I know how some people didn't enjoy this book, and surprisingly, this is one of the books that got really low ratings on Goodreads and other platforms, so I guess people didn't really enjoy it. But me, I think it was pretty decent. I still gave it a 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed the lyrical writing and the journey, and how there were a lot of things that our main character was feeling that I found very relatable, where you feel like you're weighed down by family, you don't really know what you want to do in life, going with the flow with no real direction, while everyone else makes you feel like a failure. So that's one of the things that I really resonated with in this book. However, I do think I read this at the wrong time. It was like really cold and rainy while I was reading this, while this one is a very, very summer read, as you can see from the cover. So all I'm saying is, if you're really influenced by the weather when you read, if you're really influenced by your surroundings, make sure you read this in summer, because they went to Spain in the summer, and there is a lot of descriptions of beaches, of the sea, of the hot weather. So make sure you make Hot Milk your summer read. I reread The Secret History by Donna Tartt in the month of October. It was so fun. I don't really understand why people call this book mid. I'm gonna respect it, but I don't understand. I feel like, one of the reasons why people think this book was incredibly underwhelming is number one, because of the description. I feel like the description doesn't do it justice. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what you guys were thinking when you guys went into this book. I went into this blind and I loved it. So I think it's because I didn't have any sort of like expectations for this book. And that's one of the reasons why I was able to accept everyone and everything that happened openly. I do agree that this book, towards the end, around the last 20% of the book, that was like the weakest part of the book because everything kind of dragged a bit. But everything else I thought it was so fun and so interesting, because Richard, our main character, we come to know that he is an unreliable narrator. He doesn't explicitly state that, oh, I'm an unreliable narrator or I'm lying and stuff, but it's really just the small hints that he drops about his personality, about his family, that we're able to piece together what he's actually like, and how he's very good at lying. He's very good at, making up lies and making people believe that he's someone who he isn't. And there, in no way are these characters written to make you like them. So I don't really understand why people say they didn't really like these characters, because they're not supposed, because they're boring and stuff, because they're not supposed to be like, they're all stuck-ups, right? But they're all very interesting, and they're all equally interesting, which is something that, I think Tarek does on purpose, because we, as the reader, are made to feel similarly like Richard, where he thinks they're all these very alluring and elite individuals, and he wants to be part of that group. So I think, watching that illusion crumble and finding out who they really are is so interesting in this book. And I think the beauty in reading The Secret History is rereading it again and again and again. And the more you read this book, the more things you uncover, the more theories you come up with, the more things you notice. And that is just why I think reading The Secret History is so fun. I don't know, maybe I'll make it a yearly thing. Who knows? Because this is my first reread. And I still love this book just like the first time I read it, especially with regards to Camilla and how we do not have her perspective like at all in this book. And that is something that I really want to know more about. So if anyone has any theories about, what Camilla thinks about all of this, her perspective of not just the Bacano, but also like of Henry and his infatuation for her, whether, are they really a thing? Were they really a relationship? Or was it just Henry being delusional and just devoted? So there are a lot of things that I love theorizing about this book, and I love seeing other people's theories on this book, and that is what makes this book very, very fun. Now, the next book I read in the month of October is Stone Yard Devotional by Charlotte Wood. This is This was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize last year. Surprisingly, wow! Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I got into reading a little late, but I did not know about this book. You know how like some Booker Prize nominations are still mentioned even if they have passed? As for this book, I don't think I've ever heard of it. This is a book about a woman who moves back to her hometown to live with this community of nuns in this church, or whatever this place is called, but because it's nuns, there's obviously a church. She decides to pack up and leave. We discover that this is a very impulsive decision on her part. She leaves her husband, she leaves her job, she leaves her responsibilities, she just basically goes silent from everyone else and just decides to move home. And when I was reading this, I was like, okay, there's definitely something going on with her when she just decides to pack up and leave. I think it's a common experience. I've seen YouTubers do that, and every single time when they look back on their move, like whether it be disappearing from society or wanting to live a more isolated life in the countryside, when they look back on their lives and their decision to do that, they seem to agree that, oh my gosh, I really was going through something. And naturally, that made me feel the same thing for our main character. I thought she was definitely going through something. And I was right. This book is written sort of in like a diary form. Of course, there's no like date or anything. It's narrated like she's writing in her diary, which is really interesting because we feel so close and so intimate to the narrator. This book is so awfully Catholic. I'm not sure how else to describe it, but it's not like religious propaganda. Like, if it is, I wouldn't be rating it, or I wouldn't even have rated it 4 stars. But this book is awfully Catholic in the sense where shame and guilt are explored. These two things are a big, big theme in this book. And it says so in the synopsis: when an unexpected and troubling visitor plunges the narrator further into her past. Because of this unexpected visitor, she is forced to confront the shame and guilt of the things that she have done in her past. All of us as teenagers, we all had that kind of phase. And it's really, really embarrassing, really, really shameful. And I think this book explores that really, really well. And at the same time, it has this really beautiful exploration on grief. Main character's parents just passed away, and there was this exploration on death and grief and loss, and how, I don't know what else to say. This book just kind of broke me after the last few chapters. Like, I went to sleep thinking of this book, and it definitely reminded me of First Love, Late Spring by Mitski, in the sense that there is some grief and longing in that song, and the shame of remaining in the past, the shame of not being able to move on, in the sense where you feel like you're still a small child. If you are into like religious concepts, not religion in itself, but like religious concepts, the concept of religion, of devotion, I think this book might pique your interest. So whatever it is, just give it a try, just trust the process. It could be a little slow, but it is excellent. Next, I read a piece of autobiographical fiction, or autofiction, which is the trilogy, Childhood, Youth, Dependency. I know there are certain publishers that separate these 3 books, and the Modern Classics edition just combine it into one book, which I really preferred. This is a sort of retelling of the author's life from when she was a child, growing up to adulthood, in her hometown in Copenhagen. It's sort of a memoir. We get to learn intimately about the author's life in who she was, how she grew up in poverty, how her mother was distant from her, but how that gap sort of bridged once she grew up, having to pick up jobs and being forced into labor, unable to pursue an education as a child, because she needed the money, and falling in love, falling out of love, pregnancy and abortion. And there was a very heartbreaking aspect in the book, which is the spiral of addiction to drugs, and how hurtful or how harmful it can be when the person who actively allows you or enables you to be an addict is someone you love the most. And seeing her recovery in this book was so raw and so heartbreaking, and the spiral of addiction isn't so easy to get out of. We also get to know how she loves writing poetry ever since a young age, even though she never had the chance to publish and pursue writing until she grew up and met some people who allowed her to do that. I absolutely loved this trilogy. My favorites were definitely childhood and dependency. You can describe this memoir, I guess, as a coming of age sort of book, especially in the childhood and youth part. There was a lot of beautiful, beautiful lines in this book. There was a lot of beautiful descriptions and beautiful reflections on childhood, growing up. Oh my god, even the first line. Can I just read you the first line? It is absolutely gorgeous. Let me just read you how this book starts. In the morning there was hope. It sat like a fleeting gleam of light in my mother's smooth black hair that I never dared touch. It lay on my tongue with the sugar and the lukewarm oatmeal I was slowly eating while I looked at my mother's slender, folded hands that lay motionless on the newspaper. Are you kidding me? I highly recommend this book. Please do give it a try. If you want a memoir that is sort of laid back but still fruitful, I highly recommend this book, Childhood, Youth, and Dependency. I also read Swallows by Natsuo Kirino. So this is a book about a woman called Riki. She is a 20-something-year-old woman living in Tokyo. She's very poor, she's broke, and she's not doing too well. She gets this job offer to become an egg donor for this company, but then she gets another offer by the same company to become a surrogate mother for this very desperate couple who is willing to do anything for a child. And Riki, she accepts it, and that is when drama spirals. So we get to know what kind of behavior people exhibit when, during the pregnancy process, how they feel towards pregnancy, how they feel towards motherhood. I think this book really showed a very realistic depiction of what society thinks of women's bodies, of pregnancy, of motherhood, what women's worth actually is in the eyes of other people, in the eyes of men. You will not like any of the characters in this book, and you'll find everything very frustrating, but that is sort of the point of the story, because it is, it's stated or it's told sort of like a fact. Yeah, people do this. Real life people actually do this. They actually react this way towards pregnancy, towards surrogate mothers, towards wanting to have a child and forcing your spouse to want a child, and how a mother's efforts are just, or a woman's efforts to carry that child just instantly gets ignored almost immediately when the child is born. It will make you scoff and roll your eyes. It's worth picking up. I think it can be more compelling. So I have another book that's not with me right now, and it's Inspector Imanishi Investigates by Seicho Matsumoto. This is my first Matsumoto work. He is very well known, who writes these really whodunit mysteries, and I think I can see why his works are classics. I really enjoyed it. It's a story about how this inspector finds a dead body, and how and his journey to find answers. And this mystery was very well crafted. It was so intricate. I did think the ending was a little underwhelming, but other than that, I think I can see why it was a groundbreaking book for that time. And I am definitely interested in picking up more of his works. It's a wonderful palate cleanser for when you're sick of reading literary fiction. I think it's really nice that I have an author to fall back onto when things get a little frustrating or when things get a little boring in reading. And there are a few other ebooks that I read. So the first book is The Hole by Hae Young Pyun, which is a psychological thriller about this man named Ogi. Ogi got into an accident, his wife passed away, and now he is physically disabled for life. His entire body is paralyzed. So now he has nobody to care for him except his mother-in-law. We are presented with something that is entirely different from what we know in the end. And I think that was very fun. The concept of being at the mercy of somebody else completely, not having the autonomy onto yourself or anything, is incredibly terrifying. I know people say that this book is reminiscent of Stephen King's Misery. I have not read that book yet, but I do want to get into it. Definitely see the whole being picked up as a film adaptation, and I actually really want to see it because I really want it to be told in the style of this other movie called Memories of a Murderer. I think I'll just put this the poster. Or this movie actually originated from this book, and I read this book like a long time ago. I watched the movie first, then I read the book, and I could say that both of them were so good. I definitely want to see the whole being adapted into a film similar to Diary of a Murderer, because it was so trippy, it confused you, it made you doubt things. I love Korean cinema. I also read Cold Enough for Snow by Jessica Ao. If you are looking to go to Japan in autumn, this is the book for you because it takes place in Japan. It takes place during a trip to Japan, and it takes place in autumn. So this is a book about a woman who goes on a trip to Japan with her mother, and while they're on this trip, she reflects on her life and explores her memories with her, with her family, of her mother. And although it's not like explicitly stated what how she feels, or the tense relationship between her and her mother, we can definitely identify how she feels about her mother if we read between the lines. A lot of people who grew up in Asian families can relate. There is this culture of collectivism that is so embedded into our families that even with complex relationships with our family, with our mothers and fathers, it is so difficult to just distance ourselves or just put ourselves away from them. It is so difficult to cut them off because it's simply not that easy. At the end of the day, family is family, and that is something that I think this book represents very well. That complexity of not being happy with how your family makes you to be, but having to just deal with it and having to ignore it, basically having to come to terms with it. Well, it's a fate that a lot of people have to resign to. This practice of owing our families is so embedded into our culture that it's just not easy to get rid of entirely. It's almost impossible. And this book, it's not really a stream of consciousness kind of book. It is reminiscent of a stream of consciousness kind of prose, because as we're traveling to these places, these tourist spots in Japan, she reflects back on her growing up, her time in university, her partner and stuff. But they're not exactly fleeting or fragmented. They're still very structured and contained. And I liked the exploration on how certain practices in your family can make up who you are in the future as an adult, and realizing that you're not actually content with who you are as an adult. If a stream of consciousness isn't really your style, I think it's worth giving this one a try. I do recommend reading it one chapter at a time, because having to read stream of consciousness to me is very difficult, so I like to read it in short amount so I don't really get sick of it easily. I tried looking up how to pronounce her name, but I don't know. There are no correct answers, so I'm very sorry if I butchered this pronunciation. Zenobe Purvis. Right, I read her debut novel, The Hounding. I can see this book being included in the weird girl horror niche of books. I think for those of you who enjoy this niche, I think you would enjoy this book. So this is a story that takes place in 18th century England about that takes place in this very small town where everybody's up in everybody's business, and we follow these five sisters of the Mansfield family, and drama ensues when people say and they start rumors about these girls turning into dogs. Yeah, classic weird girl horror kind of trope. The description says that this book is reminiscent of The Crucible, which I have not read, and also The Virgin Suicides, and I can totally see why. A lot of this book is told from the perspectives of other people in this town, these townspeople. The majority of them are men, so it elaborates on the male gaze. It doesn't elaborate, but it shows you how the male gaze takes place, how the male loneliness epidemic has manifested even in 18th century England. And I think that was very reminiscent of the Virgin Suicides, because we did not have a voice of any of these girls at all, and instead we only got the male's perspective of them. A lot of these people did not like the sisters and their family because they were known to be stuck-ups. Whether or not that is true, we don't know because nobody really confirms it. And a lot of things ensue, basically. We follow the person who starts this rumor, the priest who claims that, they were spawns of the devils. We follow people who were neutral, who didn't do anything for these girls. So there was a lot of exploration on how men will never let girls be girls. Like, they will never let women live, like, at all. I saw a lot of people wanting at least some closure on the girls' behalf, but I think that kind of ruins the mysticism of the story. So you know what? I'm good with not having the girls' perspectives, like, at all, and just for the book to be just like that. Enough of books. I watched a few movies in October. I will just go through my favorites because I do not want to talk about the bad ones. I rewatched certain films. I watched new films. Some of the films that I rewatched was number one, Escape. The Korean title is Talju, which starred Lee Jae-hoon and Koo Kyo-hwan, an actor slash producer that I'm very, very interested in. I think he's the actor. I watch his interviews, I watch his variety shows, I watch his cinematography. I think he has incredible range, and his approach to films and roles as an actor is incredibly interesting, and I just like listening to him talk about his job. So I think, in that sense, he's a very good actor. Lee Jae-hoon, who is known to always wanted to work with Koo Kyo-hwan, finally got his dream come true through this movie. And this is a story about a North Korean soldier who wants to defect to South Korea. A chase ensues because, of course, it's not easy, right? So there's this chase between Koo Kyo-hwan and Lee Jae-hoon's characters because this person wants to escape. This person does not want to let him escape because he's like a higher ranking official. They have some past together. I will not go into depth because that will spoil the movie, but you should definitely watch it. And one line that I think became really iconic, or at least to me it was really impactful, was Lee Jae-hoon telling Koo Kyo-hwan why he wants to defect, and it's because he says that at least there I can fail as much as I want. I can fail as much as I can, whilst here you're not allowed to fail at all. So I feel like that line really represents how hopeful Lee Jae-hoon's character actually is. You should definitely give it a watch. I also rewatched Parasite, still as good as I remembered. That scene of that guy coming out of the basement still haunts me to this day. And I watched a new film which came out this year called Good News. This movie starred an actor that I really like watching, which is Lee Hong-kyung. He is a very, very genuine and amazing actor. Everything that I've seen people say about him has been so good, and the director of this film even said that he's probably the best actor of his generation. He has starred in Troll Factory, which also stars a few other rookie actors. Troll Factory wasn't as good, it was a little confusing. He also starred in DP, which is a series that I really enjoyed, which also has Kyuhyun in it. And he starred in other series like Weak Hero, which I didn't watch, but I heard his performance was good. In Good News, he has this major role, and the story is about this movie is about this group of terrorists from Japan hijacked a plane and is forcing the plane to take them and these passengers to North Korea for their so-called revolution. And the South Korea decides to save these people by pretending to be the North Korean Air Force. I didn't watch the trailer. I went into it not watching anything. I went into it blind, and I did not expect it to be a political satire comedy. It was so good. Oh my god, the comedy aspects of this movie was so hilarious, so well done. Hong Kyung's performance was absolutely incredible. He talked 3 languages in that film: Korean, Japanese, and English. It was very good, and it was just excellent. And let's not even don't even get me started on the cameos for this film. The cameos in this film were, oh my gosh, not only do you have this incredible lineup of actors for the main cast, but then you have these big ass names for the cameos in this film. Just insane. I can't believe we got these very short moments of these really skillful and well-known actors simply as cameos. I think it was not just funny, but also very fitting for the film. Who do you think of when you want to tell a story for a person's character in such a short amount of time? So, right? The Korean cast was amazing, but the Japanese cast was also amazing. It introduced me to a new group of actors, especially the Japanese actors that I was not aware of, and also I'm looking forward to watching more of their stuff in the future. You know what's funny about Good News is that the lineup for the cameos was so good that somehow all of us were gaslighted into thinking that Hwang Jung-min was in it. I don't know about you, but I surely did. I have watched, I think, a few of the director's films in the past. I've watched Kilboksun, but I did not really enjoy it. It was okay, that one had Hwang Jung-min in it. I know no other choice is coming out or has come out this October. It's not showing where I live, unfortunately, so I don't know what to do about that. It's just really unfortunate because I really wanted to watch that movie. Park Chan-wook is a very good director who has, made legendary films like Handmaiden, Revenge Trilogy. It's just so good. So even watching the trailer, I knew it was going to be awesome. So which is really unfortunate. I really wanted to go see it. Another film that I watched was The Long Walk, which was adapted from Stephen King's work, Long Walk. It was okay. I think it was a little too short to give the characters the depth that they needed. There were also some changes made to the film. I didn't read the book, but I have a friend who did, and I discussed how I felt about it and just tallied what happened in the book and what didn't happen in the movie, and we shared our thoughts. And the reason why I say this, that the book or the movie didn't give it enough justice for the book was because even with the adaptation of the really, really famous The Shining. I read the book like last month, and I definitely thought that the movie did not do the book justice at all. I think there is this, I don't know, when King makes these characters, the movies just remove a huge chunk of depth from these characters. So they only seem like shallow, hollow characters just here for it to be this very action packed thriller and horror instead of something that makes sense, because I was not expecting the performance of Jack, who is the main character in the book, to be like that in the movie. And of course, respect to Stanley Kubrick. A lot of people love The Shining because he's very iconic. He's a very iconic director. But for me, I don't think I will be watching any more adaptation of King's films if this is something that continues. If there will ever be a time where more King books are adapted into films, I will not be watching them. That said, not that I will be reading more of King's books, because again, as famous as they are, there have been some very questionable stuff in it. But I do want to read Misery. Misery seems very, very fun. Well, not fun, but like, Misery has a very good premise where no children is involved. And also The Stand, because I already have the physical copy, so I might as well just read it one day. So that is it. If I have to narrow down my favorite book and favorite film for this month, my favorite book would definitely be... Okay, my favorite book is definitely Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood. It is so breathtaking, so beautiful, and as for film, of course, it's gonna be Good News. It's such a new genre to me that I would love to see something of this concept being made by the director again, and I will definitely check out his other stuff. Okay, I think that is all for October. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any kind of favorites, any favorite book, any favorite film that you watched this month, please do leave a like and share your favorites in the comments below. I would love to see what you loved in the month of October. Hopefully, November will be much, much better. And I hope everyone has a good November onwards. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.